On November 29, 1970, a father and his two young daughters were hiking through the Isdal Valley near Bergen, Norway. It was a cold, misty afternoon, and the valley, known locally as Ice Valley or Death Valley, lived up to its ominous name. What they discovered would haunt Norwegian investigators for over 50 years. Partially hidden beneath a rocky outcrop, they found the badly burned body of a woman. She was lying on her back in a position that seemed almost peaceful, if not for the fact that her face had been burned beyond recognition. Her neck displayed a distinctive bruise pattern, and nearby, scattered deliberately, were items that would only deepen the mystery. Bottles of gasoline, burned Norwegian currency, and charred remains of her belongings. This is the story of the Isdal Woman, a case so bizarre that it reads like a Cold War spy thriller, except it's real. The police arrived at the scene and immediately knew this was no ordinary death. The woman's body showed signs of carbon monoxide poisoning in her blood, suggesting she had been alive when the fire started. But here's where it gets strange. The positioning of the body and the burn patterns didn't match a typical suicide or accident. Her hands were clenched in what's called a pugilistic stance, a position bodies take when exposed to extreme heat, but certain areas of her body were completely untouched by flames. Around her, investigators found 2 plastic bottles containing gasoline, dozens of sleeping pills scattered in the area, charred remains of her clothing with all identifying labels meticulously cut out, jewelry that had partially melted. No identification whatsoever. The most chilling detail? Her fingerprints had been sanded off post-mortem. Someone wanted to make absolutely certain this woman could never be identified. Norwegian police launched one of the most extensive investigations in the country's history. What they uncovered wasn't answers, it was more questions. Tracking luggage left at Bergen train station, investigators found 9 pieces of luggage believed to belong to the woman. Inside, they discovered multiple wigs in different colors and styles, expensive clothing from various European countries, but again, all labels had been removed. A prescription bottle for a skin cream issued in a fake name, coded messages written on paper scraps, and 126 kroner in change, exactly the amount for a train ticket to a specific destination. She had been traveling under at least 8 different aliases, staying in hotels across Norway using false names and fake addresses. She never stayed in one place for more than a night or 2. Hotel staff remembered her as strange and secretive. She always paid in cash. She spoke multiple languages fluently, German, French, English, and possibly Flemish. She wore wigs that changed her appearance dramatically. She would check into hotels under one name, then claim to be someone else. She met with mysterious men in hotel lobbies who were never identified. One hotel receptionist recalled that she seemed frightened and kept looking over her shoulder. By now, the evidence was pointing in one direction: espionage. This was 1970, the height of the Cold War. Norway shared a border with the Soviet Union, and Bergen was a strategically important port city. The behaviors the Isdal woman exhibited were textbook spy tradecraft: multiple identities to avoid detection, removed clothing labels to obscure country of origin, constant movement between locations, coded messages in her belongings, meetings with unidentified men, professional-level counter-surveillance. But if she was a spy, who did she work for, and why was she killed? Some investigators theorized she was a double agent who had been compromised. The removal of her fingerprints and the staging of the death scene suggested a professional assassination made to look like suicide. Others believed she might have been a smuggler or involved in international espionage gone wrong. The most disturbing theory? She was an intelligence operative who knew she was being hunted and chose to take her own life rather than be captured, burning her own body and removing identifying features to protect her mission and her handlers. For decades, the case went cold. The Isdal Woman was buried in a zinc coffin in Bergen, zinc specifically to preserve her remains in case future technology could identify her. Then, in 2016, Norwegian journalists reopened the investigation. Using isotope analysis on the Isdal Woman's teeth, scientists determined she likely grew up in the Nuremberg area of Germany, possibly along the French-German border. They created a facial reconstruction. They analyzed her belongings with modern forensics. They traced her movements across Norway with unprecedented detail. And yet, nothing. No one came forward to identify her. In 2021, authorities exhumed her body for DNA testing and further analysis. The results showed she had characteristics consistent with European ancestry, but there were no matches in any database. Here's what makes this absolutely haunting. Someone, somewhere, knew this woman. She had a family, a childhood, a life before she became the Isdal Woman. And yet, in over 50 years, not a single person has come forward to claim her. Either everyone who knew her is dead, or they're still keeping her secrets. So what really happened in the Isdalen Valley that November day in 1970? Theory 1. Professional assassination. She was a spy killed by her own side or an enemy intelligence agency. The scene was staged to look like suicide. The removal of fingerprints and identifying markers was standard procedure for disposing of compromised agents. Theory 2. Suicide by spy. Realizing she was compromised and facing capture or torture, she chose to end her life on her own terms, destroying evidence that could lead back to her handlers or blow ongoing operations. Theory 3. Something even darker. Some researchers believe she may have been involved in illegal smuggling or trafficking and was eliminated when she became a liability. The spy-like behavior was simply professional criminal tradecraft. The unanswered questions. Why did she have coded messages? Who were the men she met in hotels? Why did no one ever report her missing? What was she really doing in Norway? Was her death murder, suicide, or something in between? The Isdal Woman's grave in Bergen bears a simple inscription, Unknown Woman. She's been dead for over 50 years, yet her story continues to captivate investigators, journalists, and true crime enthusiasts around the world. Somewhere out there, someone knows who she was. Someone knows why she died. Someone is keeping a secret that's lasted half a century. And until that secret is revealed, the Isdal Woman remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in European history. A ghost from the Cold War who took her identity, her mission, and her truth to a burned, unmarked grave in Norway's Death Valley. What do you think happened to the Isdal Woman? Share your theories in the comments below.